Hello everyone, welcome to the Solo Gaming Spotlight. Today we're going to be learning how to play Mistborn, the deck building game. I'm going to take you through the first 5 rounds of the game and teach you how to play, and then I'm going to touch on some of the rules that we didn't cover in the first 5 rounds of play. It's a pretty straightforward game. There's 2 ways to win. You can reduce the Lord Ruler's health down to 0. There's also a card called Confrontation that if you meet the criteria on the card, you will win the game. I'll show you that at the end of the video. There's 2 ways to lose the game. If the Lord Ruler reduces your health down to 0, you lose. Or if the Lord Ruler's deck runs out of cards, you will also lose the game. So let's get this game set up and get ready to play. There's really 4 areas of the board that you have to get it set up for the game. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to set up the missions. Now, these cards are bigger than your player cards or the Lord Ruler's cards. And there's 8 cards in total. You're going to shuffle them up and you're going to draw 3. And the other 5 are going to go back to the box. You're not going to be playing with those. So, 1, 2, 3. We'll put the others in the box. And there's going to be different locations from the book. So we have the Luthadel Rooftops. We, as a character, when you solo play, you start over here, and then as you move up the mission track, 1, you go to the bottom of the track, and then you start going up the track from there. The Luthadel Rooftops, the first reward is you advance on the training track, which I'll show you when I set up Kelsier, who I'm going to be playing as. So we got the Luthadel Rooftops, we got the Canton of Orthodoxy, and the rewards for this is we get to eliminate a card from our hand or our discard pile. And then we have the Luthadel Garrison, which is going to allow us to do combat damage. So those are our 3 missions. I'm going to push them up and out of the way for now. Let's go ahead and set up the market. The market has a pretty good sized deck. We're going to shuffle them up and we're going to deal out 6 cards. I'll try to condense this into as little space as possible so we can get everything in there. And let's deal out 6 cards into the market. Hyper Aware, Rescue, Crushing Blow, Smoker, a Rebel, and Preserve. The Lord Ruler is pretty straightforward. He has a Dominance card that you'll play against. He has a side that says X = 1 at the top right and one that has X = 3 at the top right. He starts at the X = 1, and there is a line that says no effect. You're going to take the Lord Ruler card and cover up the no effect, and as he plays cards from his deck, he will be gaining more and more dominance as the game goes along, making the world of Mistborn tougher for you, making the game tougher for you. He has a deck of cards. You're just going to shuffle them up. His deck consists of minions and these edict cards, which you'll see during gameplay. He flips out 1 during gameplay, and you deal with the consequences. We will put that right there. And then for our main character, we're playing as Kelsier. The game comes with Vin, Shan, and Marsh. These are characters from the book. I'm going to play as Kelsier. He's one of my favorite characters from the book. So because he has the blue, each of the characters has their own color, we're going to be using the blue cubes. Vin, I believe, is pink. I can't recall the others offhand. I think one's yellow or orange maybe. So the character decks, I'm sorry, for the Lord Ruler, you set his health dial to 48. Just put that nearby. He's nearly indestructible in the beginning of the game until you start completing missions. Kelsier starts with 36, as do all the other characters. We're going to set his health dial there. Each character will start the game with 6 funding cards. This is how you're going to be purchasing cards from the market. And they also have character-specific cards. So Kelsier has Steel Training, Zinc Training, Copper Training, and Tin Training. It's a deck of 10 cards. We shuffle them up. We deal ourselves 5. We also have some ATM tokens, some boxing tokens, they're called, which is, you can spend 2 of your money to buy one of those that you can use on a future turn. This is one of those deck building games that doesn't have, a lot of deck building games have that card that you can always purchase that is always available on your turn. This game does not. It has the boxing tokens that you can buy so you can purchase something at a later time in the game. All right, we're all shuffled up. Let's go ahead and deal our first hand to ourselves. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We get to go first. We have our character track here. which has these tokens on it, which represent the different metals for the Allomancy that is used in the Mistborn book. Actually, I'm sure through the whole trilogy, I only read the first book. Flip it over. It has a black circle around it. This is considered being flared, and you cannot use that metal or burn it again until you refresh it by either discarding a card or some other effect in the game. All right, our first turn, we have 3 funding cards, a steel training and a tin training. The first thing you do on your turn is you move up on the training track. Right now, we can burn 1 metal. As we hit these little white fire symbols, we will go up on the track, be able to burn 2 metals, 3 metals, and then 4 metals. We also have these level 1, level 2, and level 3, where when Kelsier burns steel, he gets extra bonuses, which during gameplay, I'll show you those as we go. So for our first turn, we have 3 funding, a steel and a tin. I'm going to go ahead and fire up the tin. I could right now fire up the steel. I'd have to flare it because I can only burn 1 metal right now without having to flare it. But I'm going to hold off on that because I'm just going to fire up the tin. This little symbol right here allows me to move up 2 on a mission track. I am going to move up on the training track. Let's get as powerful as quickly as possible. And 3 to spend at the market. We only have 1 card we can actually purchase. We can also buy a boxing token for later. Activate the top ability of one of your abilities that hasn't been used this turn. Whenever we burn zinc on our turn, we will get to fire that up. Not to mention that he's an ally. He'll come into play, and 2 points of damage that the Lord Ruler would do can knock him out instead of us taking the damage. So that's our first turn. Put these in the discard pile, and we draw up to our hand size again, which of course we're going to have the other 3 funding cards. We have our copper and our zinc training. All right, it's now the Lord Ruler's turn. All right, before I take the Lord Ruler's turn, let me flip this out. If during your turn you have, say, if I had 4 money to buy and I purchase a card for 2, I immediately fill that row in and then I can purchase the new card as a heads up. So Lord Ruler's going to go. We have a minion, the Inquisitor. When revealed, place in front of the player with the most health, that's going to be me. At the end of my turn, I'm going to take 2 times X damage. Right now, he has that X equals 1. As he goes down, you can see he's going to get the X equals 2, X equals 3, and he's going to become tougher and tougher as the game goes along. The minions, or his minions, have these shields. And in order to defeat them, right now, I would have to generate 1 damage to destroy that first shield. And that will be represented by a black cube. And then I would have to do 3 and 3. And finally, he would go to the Lord Ruler's discard pile. If I were to generate 4 on his turn, I could do cover up the X and the 3. But if I only do partial damage, like if I already had this covered up and I only generated 2 damage, I could not, partially block the 3. I would have to generate the full 3 damage. So we've got an Inquisitor out. Lord Ruler's turn's over. He's very straightforward and very easy to run. Back to our turn. We got 3 funding cards. We move up on the training track, first thing. And a copper training and a zinc training. Now, if we had our ally out that we just purchased, we'd get a bonus, but we don't. But I am going to fire up the zinc to get an extra money to spend to buy a 4-cost market card because I like that rescue. And move 1 up on the training track. I'm going to move further up on the Luthadel rooftops. 1 more. If I gain 3 more on there, I will advance a little further on the training track. Next turn, I'll be getting to burn 2 metals without having to flare any. So let me go ahead and purchase this rescue. It's going to go straight to the discard pile. If I burn iron on my turn, I do generate 3 damage and 2 extra coin. I also have this little pull effect. This is some flavor text. Pull 3. Move up to 3 cards from your discard pile to the top of your deck. That is a fantastic card. All right, my turn is over. Let's go to the Lord Ruler's turn. Flip this out. Pacify for 4. Oh, every time that comes out, we move up on the training track as long as we burn brass. That's looking good too. We have ourselves another minion. Chandra. On your turn, you have -X. Well, that stinks. However many mission points I generate on my turn, If I generate 2, right now I'm going to be -1, so I'm only going to generate 1. I got to get rid of him right now while he only requires 2 points of damage. Ooh, at the end of my turn, I had to take 2 times X. I had to take 2 points of damage from the Inquisitor. So the Lord Ruler usually ends up whooping me in this game. You'll see as he gets... Right now we've only seen his minion cards. When he starts getting his edict cards out and going down the thing, he's going to start whomping us with some damage. His minions are going to add to that effect. All right, 5 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's see what we can do. We've got 4 funding cards and a copper training card. So, of course, whoops, let's move up 1. And we're going to burn the copper. We could burn a second metal, but there's no reason to do it. We're going to do 2 points of damage. We're going to knock Conjure out so that we don't have to deal with him. And we generate an extra funding. So we actually have 5 to spend. And I think I'm actually, instead of picking up the Pacify, I'm going to pick up another ally. This Smoker here, if I burn copper on my turn, it'll allow me to heal 2. And then as an ongoing, once he's out, I get to reduce all damage I take by 1 point of damage. So I couldn't pass that up. That's going to go to my discard pile. Copper's going to go back up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for next round. Let's replace that market card with a crew leader. I'm going to have steel training, 2 fundings, a tin training, and my rescue card. So I'm going to, I think I have a pretty good turn next round. All right, and it is the end of our turn. Let's take that 2 points of damage from the Inquisitor. We're down to 32 health. The Lord Ruler is going to go. Flip out a card for him. And we have an edict. We just follow this from top to bottom. The first thing is his dominance is going to go up by 2. So we're going to slide down. We know the first one is no effect. The second one here, each player flares a metal or takes 3 damage. We want to use all of these, don't we? Yes, we do. Man. Let's flare Pewter. The Lord Ruler heals 10 for each uncompleted mission. So all the Edicts cards have this on there. So right now he's healing 30 every time an Edict card comes out, which makes him darn near indestructible, just like in the book. And then at the bottom here, we are going to burn card number 1 and card number 6 from the market. Put this into the discard pile. We're going to be getting rid of Hyper Aware and Preserve to the discard pile. We replace them. We have a Spy, which is going to burn tin to move 2 up on a mission track. I like that one. And Enrage. 1 damage to generate 2 money. Activate the top ability of one of your allies that hasn't been used this turn. This one we can play off turn to reduce an opponent's gaining missions by 3. That doesn't apply during solo play. That is it for the Lord Ruler's turn. All right, back to us. We have 2 funding to spend. Let's move 1 up on the track here. We're getting closer to that level 1. Let's burn 10. So you can move up 2 on a mission track. Let's move up on that training track. 1, 2, 1 more, and we'll get to advance an extra on the training track. Steel and iron. Let's flare the iron to do the 3 damage and get the extra 2 funding and burn the steel because we can burn the 2 metals now. So that's going to generate 5 damage. Right now it's still X equals 1. That'll be 1. We'll be able to do 3 more here, and then we have 1 left over. I've generated 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points of damage. I'm sorry, 5 funding. I'm going to pick up that Spy card for 5, where when I burn tin, I can go 2 up on the mission track. We need to get those missions taken care of so that we can start taking down the Lord Ruler without having him heal on us. At the end of our turn, we're going to take those 2 points of damage, bring all of these to the discard pile, and deal back up. We only have 2 cards. We have to shuffle our discard pile and deal ourselves 3 more cards, as well as flip out that card we purchased. Oh, that's another good one. Look out. That'll allow us to go 2 more on a mission track. That one cost 4. And we already have a tin training that Kelsier starts with, plus we just picked up another pewter. What we can do instead of burning a metal is, you see how it has a flask on the side? You can spend one of those cards to, in place of using a token. I'll show you that as we get along and play when it actually occurs. 1, 2, 3. Next turn, we'll have our rebel out. A couple fundings, a copper training, and a zinc training. We'll be able to go 1 up on the mission track and finally unlock that. We'll jump 2. And then we will unlock Kelsier's level 1 ability every time we burn steel. That's it for our turn there. I think I already took the 2 points of damage. On to the Lord Ruler's turn. All right, the Lord Ruler. We've got another minion, Nobles. At the end of your turn, if X equals 4 or higher, draw 1 fewer card. All right, so we have some time with that. We'd like to really take the Inquisitor out. That's the Lord Ruler's turn. Back to us. Let's put our Rebel out. And if we're burning zinc, we activate the top ability of one of our allies that hasn't been used this turn, but we don't, that's not going to really come into play. We've got 2 funding cards. Let's try to slide this all on up here. 2 funding, a zinc training and a copper training. Oops, we move 1. We're going to go ahead and take that zinc, move 1 up on the mission track. We're going to move up on the Lutadel rooftops and advance our training 1 more, which is fantastic. And we're going to generate an extra funding. We're also going to flare copper, and we are going to definitely burn steel, because now Kelsier is level 1 and he gets to do 2 points of damage every time we burn steel. So we've generated 1, 2, 3, 4, which will do 3 to him and take him out. We have an extra point of damage. And, you know, I think I forgot to do it the other turn. I did. So you generate a certain amount of damage on your turn, and then you deal that damage out. So the Lord Ruler actually has 46 health. He's going to heal it anyway. 1, 2, 3, 4. Did we burn zinc? We burned zinc. That's no effect. 4 to spend. We want that lookout card. We need to get our training in. Move up on those mission tracks. Put the steel back. Copper back. We don't have to take damage at the end of our turn. Our ally stays out until the Lord Ruler or one of the minions knocks him out. It's the end of our turn. We don't have to worry about taking the damage. This is excellent. On to the Lord Ruler's turn. An obligator. On your turn, if X equals 4 or higher, you cannot play allies. That's not good. We've got a little bit before that happens, but man, he takes 9. He'll absorb 9 damage. The nobles are going to absorb 6. All right, our turn. We forgot to deal our cards last turn. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, the purpose of the video is for me to teach you the game. I just showed you 5 rounds of play. You're almost there in understanding all the things. There's only a couple more things that I'm going to touch on. I am going to release the extended playthrough. This game took me 1 hour and 40 minutes to play, so I don't want to throw that all into a teaching video. It did have an epic conclusion and came all the way down to the wire, so do keep an eye out if you're interested in seeing the rest of it. Now let's get to the other rules that we need to touch on. If you look at the training track and you look at the different metals, like on the left-hand side, you have the pewter and the tin, and they are reverse of each other. You have the red on the gray and then the gray on the red. The same thing with the bronze and copper. It's the orange on the green on the orange, and then zinc, brass, and iron, steel are the same. You can use a card, say down at the bottom here, I have my tin training card. I can use this card as either a pewter or a tin due to this little flask on the card and just put it underneath the card, and then I don't have to use the token to do it. And that doesn't count as burning one of the metals. The track is for your tokens. So if right now I can only burn 2 tokens, but any cards I have, I can burn additional metals on my turn without having to flare anything. You've already seen me flare some tokens during gameplay. The way that you can refresh these tokens is by, if I take this tin training card and I discard it to my discard pile, it will allow me to refresh either the pewter or the tin. If you have an ATM card and you discard that, you can refresh any of the metals. Another thing you can use is ATM tokens. And if you look here on the training track, you'll be getting an ATM token every single time you hit one of these points. When you get to the end of the track, every single turn you'll be getting an ATM token, or any cards that have you advance on the training track will also get you an ATM token. And ATM tokens can be used as wildcard tokens. You can use them as any other token, or you can use them to fire up ATM cards. Do keep in mind that each character has a level 3 ability that when they burn ATM fires off a special thing. Like Kelsier here does 3 points of damage and he'll move you up 3 points on the mission track. And speaking of mission tracks, there are going to be certain cards that reference if you're the highest or the lowest on a mission track. So if you take a look here at the Lutadel Garrison, the blue cube right now on any one of these 3 spots is considered to be the lowest on the track, but it does have to be on the track. So if you haven't at least moved to the first position, then you are not the lowest on the track. But as long as you are below that first reward, you're the lowest on the track. And to be considered the highest on the track, you have to have reached the final reward, but not completed the mission just yet. And for a solo player, you are always the first to complete, and you always get the first to complete prize. In this particular case, you get 1 extra damage, and then you have the permanent 2 points of damage per turn. And that's really just it. There are a couple of symbols I want to go over that you haven't seen yet. Right here on the reposition card, you can see we have the refresh symbol, which of course allows you to refresh one of your flared tokens. There is also this slash symbol on the reposition card where you have the choice to either take the 2 damage or to take the 2 coins. Another symbol is the heal symbol, which in this particular case, the survive card will allow you to heal 3. If you burn an additional pewter, you will be able to heal an additional 4 health. Now you must always use the top ability first when you burn it. You can only burn a token once per turn. So in order to activate that pewter at the bottom, that +4 heal, you're going to either have to burn an ATM token, an ATM card, or a pewter or a tin card for the consume ability using the flask. And this symbol right here allows you to draw a card. Now, I know I already went over the eliminated card in setup, but now that you've seen a couple rounds of the game, I just want to remind you that when you do eliminate a card, if you can eliminate it from your hand or your discard pile, and if you eliminate it from your hand, you still get to use the benefits of that card before you eliminate it. Another thing is allies cannot take partial damage. So if the Lord Ruler only generated 2 points of damage, the Smoker here could not absorb 2 of it. You would have to take the 2 damage. And last but not least is the final way to win the game is the confrontation card. You must have it in your hand, play it, and then you would have to burn 4 ATM on your turn, and then you win the game if you're able to do that. That is a very hard thing to do, but it is definitely a possibility. And that is everything that I can think of to teach you how to play the game. You have a very solid footing. Remember, this is only for solo only, not multi-handed, just you're playing as one character. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. Please give it a like. If you're not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe if you like content like this. I would like to add that I do enjoy this game more because I read the book. If I didn't read the book, I don't know that I would like this game. But because I am familiar with the source material and the theme does come through in the game, I really enjoyed the game that much more because I did read the book. I still prefer playing the game over reading the book, but that's just me. I'll catch you next video.